Welcome to Talk of the Town. I'm your host, Rod Johnson. It's great to be here. We had a great program, I think, for you today. We're going to be talking with the newest member of the Cannon Falls Police Department, and no stranger to a lot of us, Trevor Sullivan. Welcome.
Thank you.
Now, you're from Cannon Falls, a graduate. What'd you say? 2012 graduate.
Yep. Graduated 2012. Born and raised.
Really? So grew up in Cannon Falls.
Yep.
All right. Now, let's go back to your high school days. What sort of things were you involved in? Were you pretty active?
Yeah. Throughout middle school, I was always in sports.
Okay.
3 seasons, or all 3 seasons, including the summer. Then played football, basketball, weightlifted competitively, and then baseball in the spring and summer.
All right.
Also, I did a couple different activities. Did Students Against Destructive Decisions. That was kind of a during the class day thing. We met once a month, and then we did other activities as well that we set up for the students.
I'm a graduate of Cannon Falls too, many years ago, but good school, isn't it? I think I like Cannon Falls High School.
I loved it.
Yeah. Where were you at in your life, and when did it occur to you that you wanted to pursue law enforcement as a career?
Growing up, I kind of thought, maybe military. My grandfather was in the military, as well as my grandmother. As I got into sports in middle school, had asthma, or diagnosed with asthma, I should say. Talking to recruiters very slightly, it was basically done and over with at that point. And my dad has been a fireman here in town for around 10 years. He's actually a captain now, and I've kind of always been around the emergency personnel scene. So as I grew up, it was, I kind of enjoy what he does. He gets to be out with the community, help the community when they're in need. And joined Students Against Destructive Decisions was kind of a part of creating that student body, and got involved with now Deputy Mike Ayers. He kind of helped out with some of our stuff, and that was what really sealed the deal for me. Hearing the things he gets to do, being around us students, having an impact on us directly, especially me. And from there it was, but now I'm going to go to college for this. Went to college, plans never changed.
Okay. It sounds like the organization you're involved in was kind of even steered you more in that direction.
Yes. For sure.
Tell us more about that. Students.
Students Against Destructive Decisions. It was under a previous name for about a year.
That's what I was wondering. So it's the same organization that went through some changes. Okay.
It was. We started out as like 4 students. We never really advertised it much to get new members because we're brand new. We got to get our bearings rolling here and figure out what we need to do. Then the next year, when I became president, I really went out to my friends. Hey, this is what we got going on. This is what we're going to do this year. We're going to try to get done. We started out with a high school dance. We brought in an intern from KDWB radio station to DJ it. And that was kind of our main advertiser in a way, as well as also an event for students to come to. And I was able to get my friends to join me. I probably had a group of 10 of my friends alone, on top of other students who joined. And we did things like the dance. We did a middle school movie night where all the middle schoolers, it was a Friday night, they got to come to the auditorium. It was right after that was built. We got to utilize that. Wow. Had awesome turnouts for that both years. And we also helped the Cannon Falls CHI with their different events. It was kind of a partnership between us and them. Is we can help you, we'll give our students for your volunteer activities, if you can maybe chip in and help us where we need help too.
So you were involved like a couple of years ago. Is it still going strong locally?
It is.
Great. Yeah.
And actually the year after I had graduated, it seemed to even grow even more, and the way last time I heard, it's still growing.
That's great to hear. So you make the decision, you're going to go after a career in law enforcement. Do you look at, I mean, I would imagine there's certain schools that, are better than others when you're looking at law enforcement. How did you base your decision? Where did you end up going?
Yep. So for law enforcement, there's a 2-year degree.
Okay.
It's an associate's degree, and there's also a bachelor's degree. That's kind of the first decision I had to make. Well, do I want to go to a 4-year and get my 4-year done right then and there, or do I want to do a 2-year and try to get a job after 2 years? Yeah. And then you got to look at, well, okay, now here's the schools that offer the 2-year program. Here's the schools that offer the skills portion of the 2-year program, which is really your hands-on training. For my school, it was the last semester, and then on top an extra 3 weeks of the semester. Started talking to other officers, what's your opinion? What schools do you recommend? Alexandria was kind of a 2-year that is almost a trooper-based. A lot of the troopers there are the instructors.
Okay.
And they host their skills. I wanted to go to a school that hosts their own skills. It's just more convenient. And then Rochester Community and Technical College was the other option. And Olmsted County and Rochester Police Department is where a lot of the instructors come from. And like I said, they host their own skills, and that was going to be perfect. From my house to Rochester was about a 45-minute drive to the school. Could come home on the weekends and work, because throughout high school I always worked.
Yeah.
Sometimes I worked 2 jobs because I couldn't sit still.
Yeah.
So then the final decision where I decided to go to Rochester was, well, I can get my 2 years and try to find a job. If I don't get a job right away, I can go for my 4 years, transfer to another school. I was actually in the process. I was accepted into Metro State University when this job opened up. So I am taking a semester off now.
Okay.
But I do plan on going back for a bachelor's. And the way it worked out was the way, the dream that it could work out.
Yeah. We're visiting again with Trevor Sullivan, newest member of the Cannon Falls Police Department. In fact, just started August 18th. And I was going to ask you, is that something you were kind of hoping for, to come back to your hometown? And is it something you're enjoying so far? I mean, it's been a pretty short time in the job, but it's got to be a little different working in your hometown.
I was kind of exposed to it with the reserves.
Sure, yeah.
I was a reserve here for 2 years. I started right as I graduated out of high school. And I was exposed to certain situations where I was dealing with classmates of mine directly that I graduated with, and as well as people who were in the same school and I knew personally. It was a conversation I had a lot with my parents, some of the officers here, as well as one of the officers in Red Wing. She works in her own hometown. And it was, what are some of the situations you've ran into, and how did you deal with it? What was the end result? And ultimately, it was, the benefits that I have coming back here to serve my community to the possible downfalls of, well, I might have to run into a classmate, possibly a best friend here. It's just the amount of people I know that I can serve and be there to help them when they need it. And for me, my friends know if I'm off duty, I'm not working, and they still want to come talk to me, the doors are open. I'm here to talk to them, and like I said, the benefits just outweighed the cons, and so far I've loved it. I've loved being around here and talking to the community when I'm out and about.
It's a great community. I mean,
Yeah.
I think that's why we live here. 'Cause
Yep.
it's a great community.
Yep.
What would you say are the things you enjoy most about being a police officer?
The way people's actions fascinate me. Being able to talk to people, out in a community event, if we're out at the high school football game tonight, that's a great chance for me to talk to a large amount of people, and just hearing what they have to say. Maybe it's an issue they're having in their neighborhood, a a personal issue they might be having, or maybe they just want to talk about a certain subject, and I can be that person that they can talk to, and that's so fun for me.
Yeah, and I think it's important to be available and be involved with the community, young and old alike. And I was going to bring up kids. I mean,
Yep.
I think that's another important thing where young kids should not be afraid of police officers, right?
Exactly. And this summer, as I grew up here in town, I was always involved in the baseball.
Mm-hmm.
The community had baseball, the Pee Wee baseball from kindergarten.
Mm-hmm.
You know, my favorite sport by far. Personally, I think it raised me into the kid I am, or the guy I am today. So many life lessons to be learned in baseball, and this summer I had the chance to coach a 3rd and 4th grade team as well as a 5th and 6th grade
Great.
team. And the practice is when we have, 60 kids that are there at the practices, well, they're all getting to know me, and now I'm getting to know all of them as well. And they knew that I was becoming a cop here. At the end of the season, I said, guys, if you see me out and about, I'm in uniform or not in uniform, come say hi. I'll say hi to you if I see you first,
Right.
and talk about our days, how's it going, and they're all, of course, fascinated by it, that I'm becoming a police officer, and it's, if I can positively affect their life at a young age, hopefully that'll carry into their teenage life and their adulthood, and they know that the police officers in town are going to be a source for them to use.
Talk a little bit about the Cannon Falls Police Department. Number of officers that we have now, and I imagine you also, as a department, try to have a presence at the school and other places.
Yep, we have 8 full-time sworn officers as well as 1 part-time officer. Something during the day we really try to do is before school and after school is we call it a school activity. It's you're being present around the school. A lot of times in the morning you're just kind of floating around the area of the school parking lots potentially. And then after school, we do get complaints of speeds in the residential areas near the school, and we like to enforce that as well because, a lot of times the kids are walking the sidewalks home. A lot of them do that. And for the school events, the sporting events, we try to get there if we aren't busy. Right now, a lot of times we might only have 1 car on where, well, if they get called away, unfortunately, they aren't going to be there. But now we're getting into the point where, for the most part, between 3 p.m. and 3 a.m., we do have 2 cars on, where hopefully somebody is able to go down to the schools and to the school events, the sporting events, and provide a body there, which, that's something I am looking forward to. Being around the sports that I grew up, that raised me.
Right. The size of our police department, is it is it comparable to other towns this size? Is that kind of about what other towns have too?
Yep. And something that I see is smaller towns, they do a lot of part-time officers, where these part-time officers may be working 2 shifts a week on average, and some less, some more. But the thing that I really enjoy about the Cannon Falls Police Department is that we do have the 8 full-time officers. That gives you that full chance to get out, learn your community, know the people around your community, and your community will know you. I mean, personally. So comparable to other police departments, we have more, I would say, compared to Zumbrota, we have more full-time officers. Zumbrota does have a lot more part-time officers than we do, though, as well as Kenyon.
We talked earlier about advantages, disadvantages working in your hometown, but I think you just hit on one. You know the community. That's got to be an advantage for you.
Yep. And, knowing the community, knowing the areas of Cannon Falls, it's all around it. Jumping into the job and, getting out on calls where I know the people, for me, it's just an advantage. I'm not being thrown out into a brand new city that I've traveled through a couple times. It's all around an advantage.
Good, good. I know you've been to Triad meetings.
Yep.
We hold Triad meetings once a month at Shepherd Center, and boy, we've had some really good speakers. And your thoughts on that organization, Triad?
I think it's a really good chance for the community to learn about issues around this town, and around the state potentially. It's a chance for them to see our side of things, what we can do to prevent things, and what we're doing to prevent things, as well as how we're handling different situations. It's, if you have questions about how things are handled, it's the perfect chance to see the law enforcement perspective on what's being done with that.
And if anybody's interested, Rosie Schluter does a great job in lining Triad up every month. It's the second Wednesday of every month, and we meet at 10 a.m. at Shepherd Center of the Cannon Valley, and everybody's invited to stop on by. There's absolutely no charge. We'd love to see you there. There's some real interesting topics. Again, our guest on Talk of the Town today is Trevor Sullivan, newest Cannon Falls police officer, just starting not too long ago on the 18th of August. What did it feel like that first day? You're done with school and you've got a job. It had to feel pretty good.
Yep. That first, like I said earlier, the first week was all administrative stuff. I was in the office, and even then, I was dressing in dress clothes to go to my job, my full-time job, and the feeling waking up is, yep, I'm going to work today. I'm not going to school. This is my full-time job. I'm not going to class for 5 hours of the day and then going to work 8 hours at a part-time job and then volunteering at night for 12 hours. This is what I'm here to do. This is my job. And then the first day on the road was, I got to put on the uniform for the first time, and put on the badge was surreal. And this is what I've worked so hard for, put so many volunteers at time in for, and it was a dream come true.
I've always felt too that if you can do something that you love, that you enjoy, that it just makes life so much easier. And I can kind of feel that you enjoy what you do. Yeah.
And coming to work, when I wake up for work or prepare for the day, it's, I have to go to work today. It's, nope, I get to go to work today, and it's not a struggle at all to do. And that was a thing as being a reserve officer, was all volunteer time. And I believe I put a fair amount of hours in. I know I exceeded the monthly limit every month. And it was never a struggle to do. When I was home from college on the weekends and I wasn't doing anything at night, I got to go in and work as a reserve officer and be around the scene, and that just carried over, I think.
Yeah. Let's talk a little bit about Cannon Falls, and as citizens and residents of Cannon Falls, are there things we should maybe be aware of? And maybe there's some things that we don't realize are happening in our hometown. We hear about drugs. Is that something that's, it's a problem in a lot of communities? As the general public, are there things we should know or do or be aware of?
It's something you should be aware of. Kind of something that the area is seeing, not just Cannon Falls, is heroin.
I was going to mention that's like increasing, right? The use,
increasing heavily, and it's a scary thing. It's a powerful, dangerous drug, and something for the community to be aware of is the syringes.
Watch out for that.
Yep. If you're poked by those, chances are they've been used by a number of people. So the best thing to do, if you see a syringe on the street or sidewalk or wherever it is, don't touch it, leave it alone, call us, we'll come take care of it and dispose of it properly. Like I said, heroin seems to be on the rise. Our chief had the pleasure of going to a conference dealing on the issue and to learn more about it, learn why it's happening, how we can handle it.
All right. You are just starting your career in law enforcement. I mean, have you thought about things you want to accomplish in your career, looking down the road? What are you thinking?
I have, and something I'm still going to take the advantage of is doing my bachelor's degree first off. The amount of learning that we do in this career without school is tremendous. I mean, we're learning every day. Every 3 years to hold our license, we have to put so many hours of training in. And obviously we're going to trainings all the time for the different portions of our job. And like I said, I'm going to go to school, finish my bachelor's degree, and with that, maybe take classes on different investigation techniques, different investigations, and that's something I'd really like to do, is become a specific category of an investigator.
I was going to say, law enforcement too, there are different areas you can specialize in.
Yeah.
You can go in many directions.
Yep.
Yeah.
And that's the best part about it. Excuse me. Something that I would really like to do is possibly like a sexual assault, child abuse, child neglect investigator.
All right. So if we got some young people watching and they're thinking, man, I would love to, go into law enforcement someday. What advice do you give younger people on what they could do if they're going to eventually, take the same course you did?
Yep. If you're going to do it, I'd say go all out as soon as you can. Get involved with, local groups in the school, especially. The SAD was I said, my stepping stone. Turn 18, graduate high school, you can apply to be a Cannon Falls Reserve officer, as well as other cities. I mean, there's a lot of cities that do offer the reserve positions. And then when you're in college, any chance that you can take to get volunteer time, whether it's assisting with training for different departments, there's always opportunities. You have to ask people. You might have to ask your college instructors, your local police departments, whatever it is. What can I help you with? That's get out there, get involved, put your name out there. It's your chance to show people your work ethic. And once that time comes where you've now graduated skills, and are looking for a job, that's all something that you can use to say, I've done this, I've showed my initiative, this is what I've always wanted to do. And
so you've got a little over a month in now. Has it been what you thought it was going to be like?
It has.
Okay.
It's been a busy month for me, but I enjoy it.
Yeah.
I mean, come to work expecting a busy day, and sometimes it's not, but it's been the dream,
right?
To be honest.
Well, you're a great addition to the Cannon Falls Police Department.
Thank you.
Welcome home, and people see you. They're more than welcome to come up and visit and whatever.
Yep, exactly. If you see me out and about, come say a hi. If you have a question, don't be afraid to ask. I'll do my best to answer your question or direct you to the person that can answer your question.
All right. Well, thanks for spending some time with us today.
Thanks for having me on.
Good to introduce you to the community here, even though you know most everybody here anyway. But again, welcome to the Cannon Falls Police Department.
Thank you.
Our guest again on Talk of the Town has been Trevor Sullivan. Again, he is now with the Cannon Falls Police Department, a 2012 graduate of Cannon Falls High School, and now working for the Cannon Falls Police Department. Been a pleasure visiting with him. Thanks for watching Talk of the Town. Once again, I'm your host, Rod Johnson.